For years, India has been working on building its most advanced battle tank, the Arjun Mk-1A. Yet, despite finalizing its design and prototype, it is still struggling to reach the hands of the soldiers who need it. The tank represents a complex chapter in India's defense capabilities because it simultaneously showcases significant technological progress and exposes the critical vulnerabilities of relying on foreign supply chains for core components. The current delay in the operational readiness of the Mk-1A fleet is not due to a single factor, but rather a convergence of geopolitical supply chain disruptions and the intricate challenges of re-engineering a platform that has been in development for decades. To understand why this powerful machine is still not fully ready for deployment in 2026, despite a formal contract signed years ago, requires looking at the specific timeline of events and the crisis surrounding its propulsion system. The story of the current delay effectively began on 2021 when the Ministry of Defence placed a massive order worth 7,523 crore rupees for 118 units of the Arjun Mk-1A. This variant was not merely a cosmetic update but a substantial overhaul of the original Arjun Mk-1. The contract stipulated that the first batch of 5 tanks would be delivered within 30 months, which meant the Indian Army expected to receive them by early 2024. However, as that deadline approached and passed, it became clear that the production line at the heavy vehicles factory in Awadhi had hit a severe blockade that no amount of domestic funding could immediately resolve. The primary reason for this paralysis lies in the engine compartment. For decades, the Arjun tank was designed around a specific German engine known as the MTU MB838 K501 liquid-cooled diesel engine. This power plant was chosen for its reliability and its ability to propel the massive vehicle across the desert terrain of Rajasthan. However, the German manufacturer MTU eventually stopped the production of this specific engine model. When the order for 118 new tanks was placed in 2021, the planners seemingly anticipated that the engines would be sourced easily or that production could be restarted. This assumption proved fatal to the timeline. The German manufacturer reportedly conveyed that restarting the production line for such a limited order size was not commercially viable immediately and would require a lead time of nearly 4 years. This effectively pushed the delivery schedule from the original 2024 target to a realistic start date of 2028 or even 2029. India attempted to mitigate this crisis by exploring indigenous alternatives, but developing a tank engine is one of the most difficult challenges in automotive engineering. The Defense Research and Development Organization has been working on the DATRAN 1500 horsepower engine to replace the German import. While this shows great promise for the future and aligns with the Atmanirbhar initiative, an engine cannot simply be swapped out like a spare tire. The new indigenous engine requires extensive validation trials to ensure it can withstand the extreme heat and dust of the Indian desert without overheating, a problem that plagued the earlier variants. Integrating a new engine into an existing chassis changes the weight distribution and the transmission dynamics. Consequently, what was supposed to be a production phase has partially reverted to a research and development phase, adding years to the timeline. Beyond the engine crisis, the Arjun Mk-1A faces logistical hurdles related to its sheer physical dimensions. The tank weighs nearly 69 tons, which makes it the undisputed heavyweight champion of the Indian Army and significantly heavier than the Russian-designed T-90 tanks, which weigh only 46 tons. This massive weight is a direct result of the thick Kanchan armor that provides it with robust survivability against anti-tank weapons, making it a virtual bunker on tracks. While this makes the tank formidable in a static defense or a straight duel, it severely limits where it can be deployed. The infrastructure in the Punjab and Jammu sectors, including bridges and culverts, is largely designed for the lighter 50-ton vehicles. This means the Arjun Mk-1A is effectively geo-fenced to the deserts of Rajasthan, where the ground is firm and open. This operational limitation does not technically stop production, but it does reduce the urgency and strategic flexibility for the Army, which has to maintain two separate logistics chains for its heavy and medium tanks. The production delays are also compounded by the supply chain of smaller subsystems. The Arjun Mk1A relies on a complex network of Indian vendors for various components. While this is a triumph for domestic manufacturing, coordinating this supply chain requires immense synchronization. The shift in the delivery schedule due to the engine issue has a cascading effect on these smaller vendors. Components that were manufactured for 2024 delivery may now sit in storage, where they risk degrading or becoming obsolete before they can be installed. This stop-start nature of production prevents the heavy vehicles factory from achieving the economies of scale that would speed up the assembly process. Furthermore, the integration of the new advanced systems, such as the remote-controlled weapon station and the mine plows, adds layers of complexity to the final assembly. Each of these systems must be calibrated and tested in unison. The earlier Mk1 variant suffered from issues where the fire control system would drift or lose calibration during rough cross-country rides. Ensuring that the Mk1A does not suffer from these teething troubles requires a level of quality assurance that slows down the rollout. The Indian Army has been stringent in its acceptance trials this time, refusing to accept vehicles that do not meet every single parameter of the General Staff qualitative requirements. As of now, the status of the Arjun Mk1A is that of a powerful weapon system caught in a transition trap. The timeline has shifted from an immediate induction to a medium-term goal. The reliance on a single foreign source for the propulsion system exposed import dependencies. While the eventual rollout of these tanks will likely feature the new indigenous engine, making the platform more self-reliant in the long run, the immediate reality is that the Indian Army must wait.